when you take on the responsibility of being a parent or a mother, make sure that that's an obligation and a responsibility that you're ready for. You know, that's one thing that we can control. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you have things that can prevent those things from occurring or happening. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking, and I'm saying be proactive before it has to be a point to where you're killing a person. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely not saying
use protection.
I'm saying be proactive. I'm saying, you know the person that you're laying with, whereas you're just making a baby and that baby is forced to only have a mother or forced to be in a situation that you can't give them your very best.
Right.
You know, and we all make mistakes. You know, you understand what I'm saying? But I can say for my second baby, I made a conscious choice that when I have this child, I'm not working because my job is to be her parent. You know, and I'm not saying everybody can be in that situation, but as a parent, it is your responsibility to be your very best self, meaning your children need to be in activities. You know, you need to spend time with your child, having dinner with your child. They need to have a meal, 3 meals a day if you're home, 2 meals a day if they're going to school. All of those things matter, not a bag of chips. You know, it hurts my soul. It hurts my soul when my children come to school with the black bags every day, or children that's coming to school simply because they have to eat at school. You know, so in regards to everybody want a lady on this front, yes, whoop the whoop. However, be prepared for that job because it's really a job. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that we can control. We got to get better with that, black women.
So should they grab the stick before it goes in? And make sure that the stick is covered?
I love stick with it. I'm just saying, make sure that you're ready for the responsibility.
I'm joking, but I'm
not. No, you're not. He ain't joking.
No, facts. Are we good on this subject though? Because we done went like...
We got the segue because you brought key things in with the music.
I think sometimes, man, even when we have...
subject, it could go so many ways.
Yeah. And even when we got like 15 subjects we want to touch on, if we got one good vibe like this, man, listen, you let it do what it's going to do.
No, especially when you keep trying to say that I'm off topic. I just want to let you know how everything is black and white. Okay? I realize that men think everything is ear.
So we're attacking men today.
How you want to be attacked? With the tape.
Listen. And by the way, we want to talk about mothers and parents and all that here, so we're definitely off topic. But you did it with such grace.
But yeah, this I guarantee you, it's gonna be somebody that's gonna say
we talking about these black men. You know, making sure that you giving these black kings everything for them to be their very best self. If we doing a whole 180, we originated from kings and queens, so it's time to take it back to where we started. All this bullshit that's going on out here, that's some satanic shit that you bringing up with the music, and it's time to dead it. And if we need to go to the sources, meaning First Amendment rights. We don't want to hear this bullshit on our radios, on our TVs, then that's where we need to be headed in that direction.
Absolutely. Start protesting with their feet.
Excuse me, is that topic or no?
No, that's not. I wanted to piggyback on your first time being on topic. So listen. Talk to me. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's right. I think it should be a thing that you could do. You should be able to protest what kind of music get shoved down your kid's throat. I mean, I look at certain neighborhoods, man, and certain neighborhoods, certain communities protest the kind of food that come in their neighborhood. They protest the kind of alcoholic beverages that come in their neighborhood. The stores, man. And I just felt like we have no control on. Yeah, we have no control on our diets. It's going to be whatever they sell us in, and let's face it. You can say, yeah, but you ain't got to go in there and buy it. Come on, man. It's human nature, and they understand advertisement. They understand colors. They understand everything. And if you put it in somebody's face, you shove it down their throat. And I think that we don't have no control over what we see on TV or what we hear on the radio even. And I think we should have a little bit more control over what runs through our airways, other than just don't turn it on.
So can I ask you?
But since when did cursing even be a thing that was allowed on the radio?
That's what I'm saying.
A lot of y'all forgot like the 80s when Cosby was out, right? If you think about back in the 80s when Cosby was out, you show dominant successful black people. Music was different. You wanted to hear rap, you had to go on some other station, listen to it, and it came on for like 2 hours of a day, right? Boom, 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 it became a culture, whatever like that, right? Fox, the network Fox, their whole platform was based on none of that Cosby shit. So that's when you got the Bundys. That's when you got Bart Simpson.
Everything
that
Tearing us down.
The dysfunctional shit, and it's just not black people neither. This is
The
white
Simpsons.
people.
Oh, absolutely.
This is a dysfunctional where the higher ups, the people with the real money, like, look, the common people are gaining on this. We have to fuck their kids up.
Let me tell you something.
We have to.
A lot of
too powerful.
times we get it messed up and we think that it's always a black and white thing.
Yeah, it's not.
No. They are killing us all.
Yeah, it's a
we're
class.
all
Yes.
under that same predator
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
It's they're getting us all.
They're
But
pillaging us.
if you divide us, we don't know that.
Yeah.
Right.
So you got us thinking it's a black and white thing, and it's a poor and rich thing. Period.
Yeah, it's poor and rich.
Period.
It's elite
Yeah.
rich.
It's an
Not
elite,
no-
yeah,
not no regular.
not a million, not even $1 million or $2
No,
million.
fuck
We talking
no.
about the elite.
Yeah.
So basically, it's not
Wealth.
even about money.
Not
It's
rich.
wealth. It's wealth and
Yeah.
power. So they
How
are
can I keep my wealthiness? I gotta keep
right.
you
I gotta
down.
keep them
Inferior.
down.
Down.
And if we knew, the white people and the black people knew that it was happening to us simultaneously, I think
Man, we
they wouldn't have the opportunity to
Pressure.
stay in control as much as they do. But as long as we fighting against each other,
That's what they want.
They won.
That's what they
But
want.
man, both sides can sometimes be so ignorant we can't even
Let me.
we can't even see it.
When I first started teaching, right, all I heard was after a few years, black people, whether it be whether it be women or men, their thing was to go to the suburbs after a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how are you leaving your own community? Because now it's like, it's just about the dollars and cents. You know what I
Right.
mean? But my thing is, my son was going to Central. My daughter goes to Bella Kenwood. I'm ear hustling like a mug all day because everything that they getting, I'm giving to my kids in my community. But like you said, if we got the whole divide and conquer mentality, because all you worrying about is gain for you know your own self,
Yeah.
as opposed to us building each other up collectively. You know what I mean? It's like how they gonna get it if we ain't trying to give it to them?
Right.
You know, we got this whole mentality, like, you know, even last week, you know, and everybody will have their own opinion, you know, at some point it's just about the growth or the money or the capital, you know, but we gotta be willing to at least, number one, sacrifice
Right.
and disseminate the information. You
Right.
can't keep it to yourself.
Right, at
you know
all.
what I mean? Everybody's
Pass the game
so greedy and
ball. Pass
selfish.
the
Like,
game
this
ball.
is, football is not just about one player.
No.
You know what I mean? You talk about, especially men, y'all talk about team and, you know, we in this thing together, ride or die. But then, you know, when it comes down to them dollars and cents, I see everybody turning their heads and doing their own little
Sitting on
thing.
the pocket.
That's not going to work.
No.
It's not going to work. And it's not teaching us anything. You know, we saying that we wanted to do well and we talk about the music. And every topic, I'm just focused on what are we teaching our kids. Last week we talked about the fake breasts or the, you know, the lips or whatever the case may be. I'm sorry, the week prior, you know,
Yeah.
you know, it was a,
Don't worry about it. We talked about fake breasts last episode too.
oh yeah, I heard, going in. Yeah, I hope y'all be all right. But I'm just saying, in terms of the kids, I ain't even gonna hold y'all. Real talk. This morning, my niece is like, your butt is so perfect. I want that. And it's like, she's 8. Like, why are you thinking that way?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, I'm in the tub. She got tissue, and I can't be fake about it. She got the fake butt coming in the thing trying to dance. And it's like, I'm looking, but my thing is, like, I keep asking her, why do you think that that's decent?
You see on
The
TV.
music.
Why do you think that that's pretty?
Okay,
You know, and
so
she's
fast.
beautiful, and it's like, that's what I'm focused on. Like, what are we teaching these kids? Because this is everywhere. This is
They're
everywhere.
gentrifying the minds.
And then
The
even
minds
with
are
the
being
food.
gentrified. She don't even realize her gift that she got this beautiful thing because all she keeps seeing is something on TV. That's not. That's
Yeah.
not. This is
That's
what
not
beauty
defining
is.
beauty.
Yeah, and you know,
That's
like,
right.
but let's be honest. Can you think an 8-year-old is gonna be mature enough to understand that? Man, my pop used to teach me lessons when I was 10 years old, and the first thing he would do before he told me anything was like, "You ain't gonna understand this shit right now, but I'm gonna tell you anyway."
Yeah.
Who's telling that to that 8-year-old
Yeah.
girl? Like, hey, look, man, I remember one time my stepdaughter, she came in the room one time from school and she threw a put back down and started twerking.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Don't you ever? Now, she probably at parties twerking or whatever now.
Yeah.
But I was so livid at it, and she was probably looking at me like, well, this is what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold on, man. Like, yo, first of all, you too young for that.
Yeah.
Like, she was young.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I know she just was probably just doing with the kids. I mean, but back in the day, that type of dance, you didn't never do in front of your parents.
Okay.
When we were at the house party and the lights out, everybody wanted to get the
Well,
girl turn around.
it's normalized.
Yeah.
It's normalized.
But it was
yeah.
done. It was done. And first of all, you wasn't 8 years old. You was
Right.
like a teenager before you got to really go out there and you know, feel things. So it's like whoa. And again, we have some of these kids now that are being raised by kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got you know, teenage parents, like, you know, and I'm not knocking up teenage parents because you were a teenage parent.
I was a teenage
so and
parent.
there's nothing wrong with it, but it's like the systems. What is this child being taught? Because I can see some teenage parents do better than a 30-year-old
Right.
Because it's not about the age; it's about the
Mindset.
maturity, the maturity
Mindset.
mindset. So it's like I said, it gets so
And then
multi-layered.
the TV generation,
Yeah.
like the parents are sticking them in front of the TV and having the
We're
TV
happy.
shows.
Yes.
Yes.
Or tablets and iPads,
Yeah.
and then they get to it, and then at 6 or 7 or 8 years old, I had a little struggle with my brother with that, you know, being on there and the TikTok and things like
Yeah.
that.
Right.
We as parents have to monitor stuff like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
You know, so they see the twerking
Yes.
out on
That's
at
right.
8 years old because everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
And it's normal.
So that you ain't doing nothing wrong. It ain't that's
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah, and the 8-year mind is like, I'm just doing
Yeah,
it.
and
But
TV's
they-
uncensored now too. So
It's
now,
uncensored.
like we were saying earlier, you can cuss on TV on a regular, you know, 1757 we grew up on now.
Yeah.
You can say
You had to go search for that.
BS and all that. You
Yeah.
can say all that now. You know, late night, that's when the little videos will come on. with
And
the
they
booty
show
popping
more,
all that
yeah, they
now.
show more.
That ain't late night no more. You
No.
can see that at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You can
That's
see the
right.
booty popping all that
And
now.
again, like I said in other episodes, the people who profit the most off of this type of shit, they kids don't see none of this.
That's
They
right.
kids do not see none of this. They don't interact with this, and so they'll pillage our community,
Right.
any community. You know what I mean? Whether it's Middle America or Urban America, they will pillage all of us. And have us all dysfunctional.
Well, speaking on our community alone,
Yeah.
when we was talking about music and them doing what they doing with music, what do y'all think about the demasculating of black boys
Man.
in general?
I mean, we can go to the next subject.
The
then.
next
You know,
subject
Let's
would be
go.
would be that
Lil Nas-
video.
the Lil Nas X thing, and the thing about it is like, you know, I don't like. We really don't want to even really talk on it because you know you're doing what he wants you to.
But
do.
it's so
Yeah.
relative to what we talking about.
But it's so big. You have to talk about it, and to me, it's not for me. The video's not for me. And then I, you know, again, like, you know, and they probably like, well, you were saying when Cardi B doing it. No, that ain't for me neither. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you know, but it is a place for all of that. If the Lil Nas X, that's what he do, I guess it is a place for that. Congratulations, right?
Yeah.
But why my kid shouldn't be able to go right here and look at that? No, you know, somewhere and
Like you said, neither one, Cardi B or him.
well,
Yeah.
somewhere in Philadelphia right now, it is a poor child who's living in a house that you can only imagine. And in his mind, he like, man, I just want some money. Like, if I could just get some money, get me out of this. So when that child was our age, you know, they wrote raps. They might have wrote a movie. They did something with their imagination, right? But now I'm looking at this phone, Lil Nas X. This thing is
what
all over.
will Lil Nas X do in
what
this
Lil Nas-
situation?
Oh, because everybody think once you online and you got a video, you rich. And he like, man, I can change my family life. All I gotta do is put this devil
Right.
shit on, put these tights on,
Put a dress
dance,
on.
twerk on the devil and all this.
Yeah.
And you know what he telling
Give them
himself?
what they asking for.
But you know what the child something, because we talking about an immature mind.
Immature mind, right.
What he's saying is, it's better than living in this shit.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, so you mean tell me all I gotta do is just twerk, pop my ass somewhere?
Listen.
You know what I mean?
He said that might be easier than doing what
They
50
do
Cent
shit.
don't say.
Yeah, like seriously. You mean tell me I ain't gotta get shot?
I ain't gangster.
gotta sell no
I
drugs?
ain't gangster
You
either.
mean tell me I can just
Okay.
twerk?
All I
gotta do is bust on
You know
the
what I
game.
mean? And I'm already dancing on the low in the crib. I
Yeah.
can bust a move. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So you know it's crazy. It's crazy. The things that we're seeing out here, man. Like, you know, we are older and mature, and we can say, hey, that's not for my taste. That's not my style.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for other ones, it's crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, cause again, you deal with children. Like, what do you think about a child? Like, when they see something like that, like, what do you think? You think their mind can even handle what they're watching?
Not they but chips every day. They mind they eat.
I
You
know.
know, all you need all
already
that
got
to be able to grow your brain.
It's crazy, man, because I also do some psychiatric work, man, and I work with some young guys and young girls, man, and you'd be surprised what they come in there for. A lot of the young girls, like, for instance, I was doing some work last week meeting with girls and talking to girls, and one new girl came in, and the girl had to be like 13 years old. She said, "Oh, I like her. I'm gonna get her. I'm like, oh, listen, focus on what we're talking about. We trying to get you out of the situation.
Yeah.
You already talking about
Too
a young
grown.
girl already dating girls. So these girls are like, some girls that work with, they 13, 14, 15 years old, and they're dating each other. So it goes along with the Lil Nas X.
That's right.
It's
What's being
commercialized. It's accepted now. It's okay. And I know everybody's free spirit now. And I know there's so many different identities now and things like that, which is fine, and I respect that. But now we're hitting this young age, and these kids are so rambunctious and their hormones that they just try anything.
Yeah.
And then they get stuck with it, they get caught up with it.
And they're
Then
being
they
taught
get
that.
into it. Like,
Again,
but
we
these
had
girls are young.
television, and before you talk about cursing or saying sexual, oriented things. Now we talking about seeing two men as parents on the television screen.
It's a
You know what I'm
cartoon
saying?
like
It's
that.
like
It's a cartoon. I think
That-
it's like the Lions
bingo.
or something like that.
Yeah.
They call them Dad and Dad.
But again, again, it is a reality.
It's a
Yes.
reality.
Yeah.
So we can't,
exactly, and
it
it's
is a
not to
reality
negate
for
that,
some.
but
Yeah.
we talking about it being taught
It being
because it's
marketed.
marketed. Yes,
It being marketed.
exactly.
Right, right.
Regardless of what's going on for adults to do, it should stay in the adult world.
Adult world.
Right. And I think sexuality is an adult thing. I mean, and of course, they teach phys ed, so you start talking about sexuality somewhere in your preteens or your teenage years, but I don't think that we
No. I know. I was about to say no.
should be
Not
normalizing
to cut you off.
all of these different upfront, outright sexualities one way or another to children. It's just,
But what's crazy? I just thought about when you said it, because you said phys ed. Yes, you're right. They teach you about the health, and health you learn about sex.
yeah.
Like, why we ain't got classes with finances? Right there,
At all.
because the
Real
finance
estate.
is something. Yeah, finance and real estate. Why we couldn't get those classes?
Balancing checkbooks.
Not
Well, we don't got
balancing-
checkbooks no
wait,
more, but-
balancing
Taxes
digital.
one-
Yeah,
Taxes
Taxes,
one.
stuff that's going to help us
we
be prominent
arguing
people.
sexuality, but then we all still down here in the bottom. Like, if y'all want to teach us, let's teach us some finances and stuff. I mean, why we gotta be sitting here around even talking about some spicy
Stuff,
shit?
yeah, it's
Spicy,
ridiculous.
you know what I'm saying? Like
All of it's a throw off.
You know what I'm saying?
It's all a
it's
throw off.
crazy. Like, and I know that's totally off, but when you said it, just shot my head. Like, damn.
You so busy fighting what they feeding you, you ain't realizing what you're not eating, what you're
Yeah.
not
Yes,
getting. You know
and
what I
too,
mean?
it takes you, wisdom to see other things from a different perspective too. And I hate to keep going back as a mom, but it took me to have a son to even think to myself, like, first and foremost, these women gotta understand. Tell me why you think it's okay for a 20-year-old man to be in a heavy relationship. 25. Like, that's too young. If it was your son, you would not be thinking that, you should be living together like y'all 50 years old. Like, that's just not living your life. Live your life. It's so much world out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got so much time for all those other things. And if we maybe, enjoy being a child when we're a child, those little bit of years as a teenager, we got so many adult years. You know what I'm saying? So many. Like,
I hate them. I swear I can rewind the clock. I thought it was a joke.
See, but we remember our adult years and we look forward to our adult years. Some of these kids, some of these kids
Exactly, yeah.
don't think they're gonna live past a certain age.
Right.
So I'm doing this. I'm doing
So I'm
this.
doing it now.
I ain't gonna be here next year.
Hey, so thinking about what you were saying, though,
Mentality.
you were saying about the 13-year-old girl already on a 13-year-old girl, but I mean, I gotta be honest. When I was like 9 years old, I was trying to get him.
You a different
and
boy.
I couldn't get him at all either. But I'm just saying, I'm just saying, like I think
I ain't gonna tell y'all who he was trying to get.
But anyway, back at the ranch though.
Topic.
At that age, man, you do make a decision of what you want and what you want to be into. And if you already was, already had a certain flavor, you know what you was gonna do. So I'm quite sure at like 12 and 13, if we think about it, like I'm quite sure we were already attracted to things. You know what I mean? You are gonna be attracted.
Yeah, you
to
kind of
things.
already know what you're gonna like.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's fine, but you was too busy. Like me, I had piano class, I had track,
You are-
I
You had
had
a baby at
dance.
13.
Irregardless, I had
I'm joking.
activities. You know what I'm saying? Even then, I was on birth control. Like that was something
How old was
that
you
had
on
to
birth control?
happen. I don't know, probably like 12 or 13. But like I had the type of parent. Let me tell you, you know my dad, you know my parents and how my upbringing. But I'm gonna
No
tell you
blame.
this. I mean, I don't know if my dad was just the best, of course, I'm gonna say that, but my dad kind of knew what I was doing. I'm being 100, and I ain't trying to promote this for nobody. This is what my dad did with me. I was maybe 13, spending the night with my first child's father, like over the weekends at his sister's house, almost every weekend. And then on Sunday, my dad would pick me up and we go to the library. You know what I mean? And that's just what it was. My dad, he didn't want me sneaking around. And I was on birth control.
So actually,
That
what
was
was his
something that was
method? What
supposed
was
to
his
happen.
method of doing that?
He said he knew I was going to do it anyway.
Okay, so I'd rather know
Yeah,
than opposed to
like,
me not knowing and you sneaking around.
yeah, that was his mindset. You know, you know, however he feel about it, you
He
know.
couldn't prevent it, so he had like
No,
Right.
when you young,
Right.
no, I understand what you're saying because
Yeah.
when you're young is when you feel invincible. When you make a decision at a certain age, I'm sorry, when you're young, no matter how wrong it is, no matter how many people tell you, hey, that is a brick wall you're running into. You know what I mean? Think about the young guy that's carrying a gun. Hey, that's a brick wall you're running into. He gonna do it anyway because for whatever reason, it's like this is how I survive, or this is what I. Because when you probably thought I gotta go here this weekend, this is where I want to be, this is where I gotta be. I love how I, you know what I mean. Your feelings, you know.
At least he knew where you were at. He felt like versus you could have snuck in. You're like, where'd she go?
Yeah,
Where'd she
or
go?
some shit could have went wrong.
Like I remember.
I'm scared for to let somebody spill out with somebody's house now. I'm scared for that now.
And I think
remember-
just that level of communication. I saw this episode of matter of fact, wasn't it in Coming to America or one of the new movies where she basically said, I'm going to have sex on Saturday night. Like she told both her parents, she was living with like, we all love topic now, y'all. Sorry.
Yeah.
But she like, I'm going to have sex. She announced to her parents. And then they had to sit and think about it, like, and they was like, well, we told her, you know, we told her we want her to, you know, communicate with us. So now we're gonna be mad, like,
Communication, yeah.
You know, so it's like a catch-22
What show
with
was
it.
that? I remember
I
that.
forget, but it's like, as a
And it was
parent,
like, oh, we didn't want to hear that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?